What up, guys? Jason Guyman here with King of Pressure Wash. And I got a special guest on. Well, he might be special. I don't know if he's special. He's been on a time or two. But we will get lots of going here. And the reason why I picked the target or the comment that I picked tonight, it's for a couple reasons. Yeah, we'll probably talk about Christmas lights because we love Christmas lights. But Donovan's been in business for a long time, and we're kind of going off of the in person. Should I quote in person or online quoting? And we'll kind of give you some different things that we will see if you want to do that. And if anybody is wanting to go to the huge, I'm going to give one shout out for this. Get with Jason Hefner. He has one ticket because we gave away two and one person said he couldn't make it. So that's, if you want to, message him and blow him up, and he loves that. So everybody message Jason because he loves when you do that. But we got Donovan here in right fashion, eating and drinking and slurping and all of the good things. I'm surprised the old chicken legs aren't somewhere around either. So that is Donovan. And so I know you all love when he comes on. I love when he comes on because we get some good discussions going on here. And that's kind of where we are. So before we get started, let's see who we got in the house. We got Aces High Howdy from Texas or Dallas, Texas. Scott Ferguson, how you doing? Like I said, Jason just put, what's up, Jason and Donovan? That's Mr. Dan from Cleveland. We do 95% online, big jobs we do in person. Mr. Edwin, hello, how are you doing? What's on the menu tonight? Always eating. Yep, always eating. You got that right. And we got Facebook user because I don't know why it does that, but it does that. And we got Mr. Christian Rowe from Cleveland, Ohio. Hi, guys. What is your opinion on gas soft wash machines? Good question. Good question. I love Donovan. He calls a spade a spade. What's up from Richard? How are you doing? And Mr. Awesome. All right, let's get this show on the road. It's enough of talking about everybody else. I want to get into the reason, like I said, the reason why I'm bringing this up is I know Donovan has changed kind of how he has done stuff, and so we can kind of get a little bit of what we are going to talk about here. Let's get some gold. Can hardly wait for Christmas lights. I bet a lot of people can't. Jeff says hello. What's going on from Arizona? What's going on, Darby? Mr. Teak from Pittsburgh. Hopefully I don't get called out. Hi, guys and girls. Nice. From Indy. Not sure why it always says, this is Mr. Sam Else from Indiana. I need to get him on here. He loves to buy businesses, and he's buying all kind of business. He's buying business. He don't even know what the heck it does other than he's buying businesses. But he's growing and he's crazy. You know, the thing I love about Sam, he is crazy. And like he's been hitting the news like crazy time. And like he is all in hitting the news. It blows his phone up. So it definitely works. So that is awesome to be able to do that. Odin, to be young, no carnivore diet necessary. Yeah, no kidding. What's up, Jason and Donovan? Loving your Monday lives, Donovan. All right. So, Donovan, for the people that don't know who you are in here, tell us a little bit about who are you, where are you from, and all of that good stuff. Tell me your story.
Howdy. Well, like Jason was saying, my name's Donovan Questerberry. I do run a exterior cleaning business year round. Seasonally, we hang lights, and we've been in business for little over 15 years now, and we've been hanging lights for 3, 4 seasons. I'm married, got a bunch of kids, got another one on the way. I love dogs, and I love talking about business. So, at my kid's birthday party this past weekend, I went from one conversation with one person, I'm talking about business and getting loud and getting excited. And then, people run away from you because they're tired of talking about business. And the next conversation, I find somebody who likes dogs. So I'm over there talking to them about dogs and getting loud till everybody clears the whole area too. But that's like me. I'm pretty passionate about what I do. Not very complicated, pretty straightforward to the point. Somebody said earlier, if I see a spade, I'm calling a spade. So yeah, And what Jason alluded to is I I would say one thing that I'm not afraid to do is try to improve my process, right? I'm not afraid to try something new when I see either I need to improve an area or I see an area that somebody else is doing better than me. I would say that's probably maybe my one claim to fame. I'm not super smart, didn't go to college. I just haven't quit. And I had a lot of growth once I realized that I didn't know everything. And I started listening to people who are a little bit more successful than me. So previously, I would quote everything online. I've tried it a bunch of different ways. Let's just take like our primary service of gutter cleaning. I've done it where you do it based upon the story number of stories. I've done it based upon linear foot. I've done just flat rate where essentially I just charge one price every house, doesn't matter the size. I'm going to keep moving around, so when Jason tries to like zoom in on me, he can't narrow it down. Um, if you can't tell, man, I got this ADHD thing or something like that. It's
The squirrel.
undiagnosed, but yeah, yeah, I'm like, ooh, shiny light, right? Um, but we've tried every way of quoting. The one thing I hadn't done a whole lot of was like in-person quoting. So that's kind of like more of a debate that Jason and I are going to have tonight. He might play devil's advocate, or I might do it. But I've tried quoting everything online. We've had a lot of success with that. But I was getting to the point where I was getting a lot of jobs, but my average ticket was a little bit lower. So I was looking for a way coming into this slower season of the year where I can try to have not really focus on getting a lot more leads coming in and just having like a mountain of work like lined up going into the slower, hotter seasons of the year. I was thinking, how can I get my average ticket up? Because my technicians, I've bent over backwards. Jason, maybe you can give me some advice on this, but I have technicians that are like really good at doing the work or they're like really good at upselling, right? That because they're more of like a salesperson, but they're not like I have not found somebody who's just good at both. I'm good at both, right? But I can't find a technician that will go out there, do an amazing job, and then upsell the client everything they need. I mean, did you ever have any success with that?
No, most technicians are technicians because they're technicians, right?
Yeah.
They're very they're a high S. They do what they're told.
Yep.
They're usually do the same thing over and over, and that's the type of personality that you kind of want for that. A lot
Yep.
of times, if you find a person that is that more of a sales type person, they're probably in the wrong position at that point, right? They're on the wrong part of the
Yeah.
bus at that point.
They're going to be like me. They're like all scatterbrained and like it seems like a really good salesperson. They almost make like impulsive decisions. They don't. They're not very good at like follow through and stuff like that. You know, they'll make $100,000 a year and they're going to spend 98,000. You know what I mean? Like, and you kind of want that for a salesperson because they go up there and I'm not just focused on the one thing they called me out for. I'm looking at everything. I'm talking to them about their dog, their plants, their family, how long they live there, and oh, that needs to be clean. And by the way, here's what you got going on over here, and this little thing here we can't help you with, but you probably need to get it worked on. I can refer you to somebody, and and so like I was struggling with getting higher tickets. That's what I was struggling with. For us, we have office staff and new office staff. Like I would have some people that are really good about taking the client through the whole process and getting high prices, and then I got other people that were just they kind of like bid it the way that they would want to bid it, and they were like, oh, if you combine this, we'll give you a discount. And I'm over here thinking like they didn't ask for a discount. Why are you telling them about a discount? Like double, triple the pricing. Um, so all that being said, I saw a couple of guys. I saw Pat Clark, right, and I saw Chris Johnson doing like they're just preaching in-person sales, and I was like, okay, I've never given this a shot, so I want to try it out. And I've had some good success there. But before I go off on too many tangents, is there something specific you want me to talk about, Jason, like the process I'm doing or the results, or where do you want me to go with this?
Yeah, so here's the thing about in person versus online, right? I know some people like when I did in person for Christmas lights and even pressure washing, but more so for Christmas lights, the guy I learned from, his average ticket was only like $50 higher than my average ticket, and his average close rate was only 1 to 2%, right? So it wasn't that much of a bigger deal. Now, I've done training with Mr. Chris, and he will be at the October class, and he will be teaching an hour or two or three, who knows how much, of training of how he does sales. And there's a reason why I bring him in, is because he does do a lot of online sales, right, or in person.
In person.
And
Yep.
so but here's the deal with Chris, right? So what I see most people have an issue in why they have low average ticket is when they're online, they are not giving them $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 bid. Chris, on average, is giving a $4,000 to $5,000 bid on every job, right? And when you give a $4,000 to $5,000 average bid on every job, guess what? Your close rate is going to be at $2,000, and that's where his close rate is. Chris Johnson's close rate's anywhere from about 1,700 to 2,000. Why? Because he quotes $4,000 worth. Now, the one thing that I see, some people get this and some people get it wrong. When Chris goes and sells these jobs, he is not selling pressure washing, right? Everybody thinks that you got to go in person and you sell pressure washing. If you go into the mindset that you're going to go in there to sell pressure washing, your average ticket is going to go right at the same as my average ticket, right? I can't build that relationship like you can in person. And that is the difference between people doing it online versus not online. So that's why I preach that, hey, if you're going to do it online, you've got to give $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 average ticket every time, so that way people can buy from you. A lot of people don't give no packages, and they call for a $300 house wash. We give them a $300 house wash, and that's what we get. So one thing I will say too is I do want to hear from Donovan that just switched a little bit. What was your average ticket before versus what is your average ticket by going going in person?
So if let's just take gutter cleaning, right? Let's leave Christmas lights out of it, and let's just simplify things. Exactly what you were talking about was happening before. People would call for gutter cleaning, and the office would just quote them online for gutter cleaning, and then maybe they'd throw in a maintenance plan, right? My maintenance plan on gutter cleaning is 4 times a year, all right? And they were not closing maintenance plans. They weren't able to communicate via email, text message, phone call. They weren't able to look up those details and close them on the initial cleaning and the maintenance plan. It just wasn't happening. And our average ticket was like $200, give or take, for gutter cleaning. Give or take $50 was where almost all of our tickets were landing. Now, we started going in person, and again, let's not factor in all the other services, but going in person, just focusing on gutter cleaning, I was able to meet the client out there. That was the key, meeting the client out there so that I could talk to him about the gutter cleaning and then the gutter brightening and the gutter repair and the gutter downspouts that led into the underground drains. Essentially, we're still talking about the gutter system, right? But I was able to point it out, and I was able to show the client all these different areas. And almost all these clients, when the office asked them the same exact questions over the phone, the client said, no, I don't need that. No, I don't have that. And then I would show up in person and I would point it out to the client. Instead of asking them, I'd tell the client, say, look, you got this going on here. You got this going on there. This needs to get taken care of or it's going to lead to a bigger problem. And, a perfect example was this past Friday or whatever. I met with this guy. He called us that day, and we got him on the schedule that day for an in-person. I show up and I start pointing these different things out to him. He just thought that he moved into this house. He just had it built. He just thought he's going to have a gutter clean. And as I talk to him, I see it like his energy just goes out. I was like, hey, what's going on? He's like, this is turning into a $2,000 project. he's like, I thought I just needed the gutters cleaned out. And in my head, I was just like, cha-ching. And I was like, oh, it's going to be nowhere near $2,000. But it was $1,500 just for gutter cleaning and underground drains and, just his gutter system, right? So it was able to turn into that. And guess what? He didn't sign up for the maintenance plan, but almost every single job I'm going out to for gutter cleaning is signing up for the maintenance plan, which is 4 cleanings a year. And I'm able to explain the value of that. And then the other thing that I'm doing in person is that if that was a $200 ticket in person, I'm charging them $400, right? I'm charging them $500-$600 just for the gutter cleaning. Like, I'm not talking about everything. I'm saying what my office was quoting at $200-$300, I'm increasing just that. So just that cost of just that service is a lot higher in person. And all these other things like the maintenance plan, if I'm selling them a $400 gutter cleaning and then I hit them up for a maintenance plan like 4 times a year and I'm able to give them a huge discount, the huge discount is the normal price that we were charging them ahead of time, call it $250. So that turns into a $1,400 ticket by going there in person, closing them for the gutter cleaning plus the maintenance plan visits. And so that's something that we were struggling with over the phone or through a text message or an email, but we're closing them a lot more. And I would say our average ticket's been up over $1,000 now for the in person. And I've also closed tickets as high as like $5,800 for house wash and paver sealing and stuff like that. So we've gotten some massive tickets that were just nowhere in our scope of capabilities. I mean, us personally, before we were doing the in person.
So the one thing that I always love with Mr. Chris and other people is it's awesome when the owner can do this, right? Usually the owner can do this, and but how do we train our salespeople to be able to do this, right? I know
Yep.
Chris has been through 2 or 3 guys. They couldn't hang. I know his new guy has been hanging a little. He's been hanging, getting his average ticket's about 1,000. So
Yeah, he's been hitting like $10,000-$12,000 weeks, so he's doing pretty good.
how do we train our employees to be able, and some of this I know is it's from this book here. If you haven't read this book here, The Ultimate Sales Guide or The Ultimate Sales Machine, and he talks about the disc profile, and you need to be a high I with a high D. And so it's a way that you will be able to, that they're very high energetic, but they're also willing to close the sale and get the thing closed versus just keep talking. Now, this isn't you go out there in 5 minutes and it's done, right? Every time, every sales call, you're talking a 30-minute sales call, 35-minute sales call, maybe an hour. And so as you're doing this, it is something that you can do, but it's not easy for everybody to do this, right? And so
Yeah.
it is setting up the systems so that way you can do this. Now, here's the deal. I've always said this in the past of, if you're going to do it online versus in person, right? If you're going to do it online, your close rate is probably not going to be as high. So what does that tell me I need to do? If I don't want to go, because here's the thing, like I have an hour and a half, an hour to my north where all my money is. My money is all an hour north of me, 45 minutes all north of me, and so if I'm going to be doing sales calls up there, I got to find a whole lot of job. I got to make my time worth that. And if you're trying to do this while you're on the truck and you're trying to clean and you're trying to do all this, you are never going to be home. Like you're going to be doing sales calls all night long to try to be able to get them done today. So that way we can do that. And then the other thing is too, is things are going to fall through the crack. So the reason why I did in-person quote or online quotes is because I knew if I could get the phone to ring enough, I can close enough at that point. And even like we talked with Jason last week, Jason Hefner, he did 250,000 part-time last year. He doesn't have time with a full-time job to go quote every job. And so
Yep.
he only has time to do online to get this stuff done so you can do that. So you do one of 2 things. If you can do enough marketing to get the phone to ring enough that you can send out enough things, that's how you do it. Last year, his average close was about 32 to 33%. That was, so every 3 jobs he got 1. And then this year he's actually down to 30%. His percentage has dropped a little bit, but his average ticket has went up also. So that's kind of where you got to look at that and say, all right, do we do this? So online, in person, it's kind of a, what you want to do at the end of the day.
What I will say, so I ran into some of those same exact struggles, and I've only been doing this in-person stuff for like what, 2 months now, or something like that. So I'm very, very new to it, right? I ran into a few things. First thing was doing it all online. I didn't have anybody besides me that was responsible and accountable to the schedule staying full, right? My office manager was just managing, right? And my technicians don't give a shit. The receptionist just answers the phone. And so I didn't have anybody besides me that was like, hey, we're running out of work. And then I got to go and hustle up more work. Um, and so for me, the initial appeal was I want to hire somebody that this is their job to keep the schedule full, and then they get incentive pay for dollars being completed on the schedule, right? And that's not quite the office manager, that's not quite the technicians. And like I tried it a little bit like, hey, the office manager gets a bonus if we hit like $60,000 a month for these two crews or whatever, like they'll get a bonus. But then when you don't hit that, they're like, oh, this guy took time off, or this guy's on salary, so he doesn't care, and this and that and the third, and it almost created a thing where they're like against each other versus working together. And so I didn't like that dynamic. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, how can I get somebody who's going to say, the buck stops here. I'm going to be accountable for the schedule being full and work getting booked and stuff like that. And I was like, well, duh, that's a salesperson, right? That's a sales manager or an area manager. It's not even quite an operations guy. It's that in between type deal that once you get past, like Jason was saying, if I was a one-man show, or maybe it was just me and my wife, then I don't think I would do in-person sales. I would do it the way I was doing it before. But when you get to the point, like for me, I have 3 different cities that we're working in, different crews, and I got one person in charge of the schedule and different people answering the phone, and an operations manager over here and a different one over here. It's like, who's going to like just say, okay, making sure that the schedule's full in sales is going to be my responsibility. And I was like, okay, well, let's try this out. And then the next challenge was the receptionist being able to book those sales appointments where I get a full schedule that's an efficient route where people are actually home, they don't cancel on you and everything else. That took a couple of weeks to train the receptionist to do that. And I was like, I'm telling you, I was mad. I'd come in here, I'm throwing stuff and like yelling and cussing, like not at the receptionist, but at my office manager, like, why can't they just do it right? And so that was fun.
And Kate was ready to strangle you. And
oh yeah, that pisses off Kate too, because I'm putting undue stress on her. Me trying to figure out this new process and everything. I shouldn't be taking it out on Kate, but I did. She's a Marine; she can handle it. But that didn't create a fun environment. And then the next thing was, I was like, okay, cool. So we finally got that figured out. We got 3 to 5 appointments a day. And 5 appointments, if I know that they're like on the schedule and they're booked out properly, like that's an easy day. It's a 5 to 8 hour day for 5 really good appointments that are an efficient route. That's what we figured out. And then it was a matter of, okay, can I train somebody else to do this? I wanted to real quickly get this off of my plate because remember, I got that ADHD, shiny object syndrome. And so I know for a fact, if it's on me to do all the sales appointments for the next 6 months, I'm going to start dropping the ball. I'm going to start showing up late, I know myself, right? So I had a buddy who, he came out of the Marines but he was absolutely the wrong person for it, right? He's introspective. He's not bold. He's a meticulous thinker. He's not like impulsive. And so I could have probably put 3 months into him and made him an okay salesperson, but he would have never been a great salesperson. So thankfully, on his third week of training, he just said, Donovan, I really don't, I've done a few of this, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think this is a good fit for me, and I'm really grateful at this point that he said that, because I would have just made it happen, right? I would have just forced him to do it, and he probably wouldn't have been very successful. And he would have gotten frustrated, and I may have, put a friendship in jeopardy. But yeah, so I've burnt out, one guy on this as well so far, and but I do think there's something to it for the power washing side of my business. I'm pretty sure what we're going to do is have a salesperson, at least on the high end jobs or the people who ask about multiple services. If they just ask about power washing, maybe, and we're real busy with a bunch of leads, we might quote that online. But I think we're always going to have a sales guy at least doing 5 appointments a day just from here on going forward.
So the thing that I did is so that way it would be consistent over and over and over is I use responsive bid, right? So every time someone called to get a house wash, it automatically gave them package B, which was a window cleaning, and package C, which was the driveway cleaning. No matter what it was, they always got those 3 packages. And so that is one way that I was able to get my average ticket up, was because I wasn't relying on someone to be able to do that, right? I wasn't relying on my receptionist to answer the phone and give out quotes and pricing of whatever they might feel like that day. All they had to do is put the square footage in, and it automatically calculated all of those out, and bam. And on top of it, it automatically sent emails, it automatically sent text, and it automated a lot of the headaches that we need to get automated. Otherwise, we're like, why ain't these people closing? And so that is the reason why I use responsive bid. And if you want to go try it out, you can go to kingofpressurewash.com/resources. It's in there. But it is a way that you can do it. Now, the thing with responsive bid is if you're not getting the leads, there's no use getting responsive bid, right? If you're getting 1 phone call a week, it's not going to be for you. If you're getting 3 or 4 phone calls a week, it's probably not going to be for you because it's not cheap. But it's definitely a way that you can make it happen and make you to be able to do it. And so this here has been the age-old thing. Is it better to in-person quote or online? And, some of it depends. I mean, it really does depend. I was talking to a good friend of mine here local, one of the local guys, Patriot Power Washing here, and he was talking about how the economy, right? Let's not leave the elephant in the room. And so he was like, I'm not getting $300 house washes, right? Those are not my customers. There's 2 customers I'm getting. I'm either getting $1,000, $1,500 jobs, house wash, roof, just they're spending a boatload of money, or I'm doing a lot of commercial work. And those are the 2 people that are spending money right now. So those are 2 things that you also got to think about, that maybe your close rate's going to be down a little bit more because those $300 house washes, $200 house washes is a lot of money for those type of people. So if that is your customer and those are the ones you're going to because you haven't figured out who's your customer and where they live and what they look like, you should have an avatar of what that person looks like. What does she drive? How many kids does she have? What school do they go to? What city what subdivision they live in? So when you're talking in all your marketing, you're talking literally straight to that person because you know who you want as your customer. And it's not just anybody that's got money. Well, I'll tell you, that ain't nobody. So that's some things that we have to think about as we are looking at this of who is your customer and where does that customer live at.
Anybody talking crap yet about my sunflower seeds?
No.
And I think that one thing that's really important to remember is like, make sure that what you're trying to offer to your customers, like it lines up, right? Because if I'm trying to go out there and turn a gutter cleaning job into a gutter cleaning, gutter brightening, gutter repair, underground drain flush, you got to understand, what everybody knows us for in the area is gutter cleaning, right? And if they're really interested in gutter cleaning, and I go out there and I try to sell them on a driveway wash, that is going to be a very low conversion on that package A, right? Package A is everything that they need done if they had an unlimited budget, right? But again, if they contact me, like we just had 3 inches of rain yesterday, like within 30 minutes, like flooding, trees getting ripped up, and roofs blown off, so these people are calling me like, hey, I need to have my gutters cleaned out because there's like branches on my roof. And I go out there, I'm like, okay, cool, let's power wash your driveway. They're gonna be like, Donovan, shut the hell up and clean my gutters, right? Blow off my roof. But if I go out there and I say, you know, hey, we can blow off the roof for you. We clean out the gutters. By the way, the face of the gutters is green. We can take care of that for you. This gutter's bent. You have water overflowing here. While we're out there, how about let's repitch your gutters properly? Like my package A has a lot to do with their specific home. And a lot of it is they have no clue. I went out to one lady today and I upsold a $300 underground drain flush for like 50 foot of drain, right? And it was $300. It'll take us like 10 minutes, right? And I was able to sell that because she was like, I have water problems right here. What can I do? And originally she called me out for power washing, okay? And I was like, well, you have you have a downspout that leads to an underground drain. We need to put a little catch basin in here, and then off this way. She's like, you know what? I think there used to be one here. So I was able to start digging around in the ground. I found a catch basin, ripped off the lid with my bare hands. Worms flew up in the air. She screamed and like jumped behind me and like used me as a shield because she didn't like bugs and stuff like that. But, at the end of the day, that $300, there's no way I could have quoted that and closed it in person, right? But if I already had like a full schedule, I'm booked out, and I got too much time, yeah, let's just go ahead and close the gutter clean and give her some of these other options. But for me, I'm able to make it a little bit more custom. And then, yeah, I think somebody just said something about me looking like Santa Claus if I dye my beard. Yeah, I'm dressed up in my Christmas light gear because in 100%, I'm being 100% honest, like evil elf. Yeah, he's from the South Pole. He's a mean elf. But look, I will argue with anybody that in-person Christmas light quotes are nowhere near as effective as online Christmas light quotes because it's very visual, and you can point up and say, we'll do this here and put lights on bushes over there and this and that and the other, and you can do your whole sales pitch and people just don't see it. But when somebody goes to your website and they see photos and then you send them a quote and there's a design on there and they can visually see their house like marked up a design, and then they see line items with like beautiful photos on there, that's what sells it. Not you standing there pointing at a tree and saying, yeah, we can put lights on that for you. And then also the other thing is that, if you follow what Jason Guyman tells you to do for Christmas light leads, like you're going to get 50 to 100 leads a day. I told you, we're going out to 5 exterior cleaning quotes in a day. Like anybody that puts up 25 yard signs is going to get 20 calls a day about Christmas lights, right? You're going to have so many leads that there's no way that you can go and go to every single one in person. It's impossible. So you either got to, if you get 100 leads in a day, you either got to blow off 95% of them, or you got to quote 95% of them online, and then you go out to the 5 in person. And what my argument is, and what Jason I think will agree with me is, well, if you're going to do the 95 leads online anyways, you're going to get more money booked off of those 95 that you got to do online than those 5 that you do in person, like all day, every day.
And not only that, you're able to get them out quickly, fastly. They will have a bid within that day, whatever, however far you're out, and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, they don't got to wait 3 days for you to
No,
come out there.
and
Like
and,
you
and
got
even if
you got in the bid in 30 minutes.
even if you are going to do in-person quotes, whether you're doing them in person or online, or in person for Christmas lights or in person online or for pressure washing, you still want to vet these customers, right? I mean, you still want to let them know that there's going to be a cost. This is the cost. This is the average. Do you want me to still come? Because there will be people out there when you get there and they're like, holy crap, I thought that was $100. I thought you charged $10 an hour and you were going to be here all day,
Mhm.
right? And
Yep.
so that's why we want to make sure that we're doing this. So David asked a question,
Oh,
and
Miss Santa.
Nathan asked it earlier. Explain the underground gutter flush out is so everyone will know, because not many people offer this.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the tip of your pressure washer. All right, I'm gonna talk about Donovan's tip, not Jason's tip. All right, Jason's tip's a lot bigger than this, but Donovan's tip is just this little mini Gatorade bottle. Okay, and what it is you got one line that's here, and it shoots out like that. You know what I mean? It sprays stuff out of the tip, and the difference is on a jetter tip, it also has jets facing backwards that will shoot water out the back end of the tip as well. And instead of it being connected to like a rigid high pressure line, it's connected to a flexible line that can kind of snake its way through pipes. So I'll use this for downspouts and the underground drains. What it is the forward facing tip, okay, has one, there you go, perfect. Yeah, the forward facing tip has one really powerful, it's a larger opening, and that forward facing tip is going to blast its way through clogs. And the rear facing jets, it has more water coming out the rear than it does the front. So it actually propels itself forward because of the rear facing jets. And so that flexible line, once it gets through the clog, will actually keep propelling itself forward. And you can figure out where it comes up above the ground. And then once you know where the exit is, you go from the exit, you put it back in from the exit, you start at the exit. So now the forward facing tip is going towards your downspout. You let it go all the way to the downspout. The rear facing jets are pointing towards the exit. So you stay on the trigger and you pull the line out slowly, and the rear facing jets are actually going to back flush all the debris out of the pipe. So we charge a minimum of $100 per downspout. And when we go to do it, we do every downspout or we're not taking the job. So most homes have between 700, oh my gosh, have between 7 and 12 downspouts per house that lead into underground drains. And that's usually a 2 to 3 hour job for us. And we're making, $700 to $1,200 in 2 to 3 hours.
So I bought this one off of Amazon, and it's still in the box. It's never been used. I wanted to do it. You can see it's still in the plastic, and I've never done a video on it. And yes, you can use an 8 gallon a minute for it also. There's also a thing that you can put on your pressure washer that will pulsate it, so it'll make it pulsate, so it'll actually help break that up a little bit better.
Yeah, you replace one of the valves where it turns on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off. And so that with the forward facing jet, if it's up against a clog and it's more of like a hammer drill instead of just like trying to push through it, it's more like a hammer drill. So it's more effective.
Yes, it actually hooks to the pressure washer. It just goes right on.
Yeah, it hooks to the gun. Yeah, instead of putting your little J rod right there, you hook the jetter kit. Jason, I'm sure, has an Amazon link for it. If not, he will later tonight. But if you're going to try it out, buy the 100-foot and buy the 50-foot off of Amazon. Jason will give you a link. It's a jetter kit. And the only thing is that you want to buy a tip that's rated, that has a little bit higher water flow if you're doing 8 gallons a minute. Otherwise, it might kick in that pressure relief because it's only like a 1/4 inch line or whatever. So there's a little bit of a learning curve to it. And then the other thing is that if the pipe is collapsed underneath the ground, or if there's roots in it that are that big, you're not getting past those roots. You're not getting past the collapsed pipe. So sometimes if you go out there and you see trees and stuff growing out from the downspout where the downspout connects to that pipe, you just be like, look, this is not a job that we want to try it out. But when you go out to a house and you're talking to them about power washing, and they have gutter guards or they have whatever, they have these underground drains, you say, hey, when's the last time this is cleaned out? And they're like, oh, never. You're like, what you can do, even when, here's the nice thing. Here's the key right here. Okay. Don't tell on me, but here's an industry secret. All right. There's always going to be crap underneath there, but it's not always completely blocked up. So a lot of these pipes, they lead like 20, 30 foot, and then they turn upward, and they have a little cap on it that's a green cap. It's called a pop-up emitter. And when it rains, there's a little float in there. It lifts up the cap, and water comes out, and then it settles back down when there's no water in the pipe. Look, that cap, it blocks and it keeps all the debris that came out of that downspout, it keeps it in that pipe. So a lot of times, if you see those little pop-up emitters, you can pull the lid off and say, hey, look, you got a ton of debris in here, and we need to clean this out for you. You already know where the exit is, so you don't have to take apart the downspout, and you can quickly run your jetter up there, and usually it's not that bad of a clog if they have those pop-up emitters, and you can almost always get those cleaned out when you know where the pipes, they call them, they daylight, or when they reach the ground, and that's quick money. And you still charge.
Another good thing this is good for too, if they got gutter guards and they're actually screwed down, you can run this down that gutter guard and it'll bring all those leaves back instead of unpopping off all of those gutter guards.
Yeah. And guys, remember, keep in mind, the key is when you go out to a house, you charge per inlet, and you do all of them or you do none of it. No, I'm not just going to go out and do this one right here for $100 or $200. It's not going to be worth your time, okay? Because what happens a lot of times is this downspout comes in here, this downspout on the corner comes in, but underground they tie in together. And there's a T or there's a Y. And if you're coming from this downspout and it tees in, you won't be able to get around that curb always. So you got to go in each downspout sometimes and through the exit to make sure you get the whole system flushed out properly. So you don't want to just charge them $100 for one pop-up emitter, but then you got to go and take apart 2 or 3 or 4 downspouts to get the whole thing cleaned out. Like you should have charged $300, $400, $500 and you're done in an hour, then it's worth your time. But if it takes you an hour or 2 hours and you only made $100, $200, it's not worth your time.
So Richard asked the question I know we've kind of been on gutter cleaning here, but I'm a big gutter cleaner. Can I see your maintenance program? Or talk a little bit about what are you doing to be able to get 4 times a year?
You just tell people that they need to be cleaned 4 times a year. I mean, it's I'm gonna be honest, it's as simple as that. Like, Jason, how often should somebody wash their house?
Once a year.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like green and moldy once a year, right?
No, but why do you wash your car once a week?
Well, because I don't want to get dirty.
Right.
Ding, ding, ding.
Right.
Okay. So here's the thing about maintenance plan. And I want you to remember this, okay? Underground drains, you charge for every inlet, okay? Maintenance plan is not a discount plan. Is not. That's not. Now, is there a small discount? Yes. But you don't sell the maintenance plan on a discount, okay? It's 4 times a year. For us, it's 4 times a year, but it's not every 3 months. It's around the heavy debris fall. So right now, we have summertime cleaning. If it's too wet or if it's too dry, trees drop leaves, and we're coming up on the hurricane season and everything like that. So people need their gutters cleaned out so that it's good to go for the stormy season upcoming. Then we have an early autumn where I tell people, look, we're going to come out and clean your gutters, and by the time we're done cleaning them, before we even pull out of your driveway, you're going to have leaves in them again because the trees are still dropping leaves, but we want your gutters to function and not get clogged up. So we're going to come out about halfway through the autumn time when the trees are dropping their leaves, and then we're going to come out again in January and February, January or February, and once all the trees are done dropping their leaves. All right, so there's 3. And then springtime seeds, when all the pollen hits and you got all the 1,000 different worm-looking seeds and helicopter seeds and gumballs and everything else and pine needles, like we're going to do our springtime cleaning. So that's 4 times a year. And when you explain to people like that, they're like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
So in
Um,
Richard, you're not going out in January because there's a foot of snow in Syracuse, New York, or up Buffalo, New York, up there. So you're only going out. You're not going to go out that time of the year.
yeah,
But
you can
you
go out
could
three
do it
times a
right in
year.
the fall when all the leaves fall, in the spring when all the helicopters, and then in the summer just as a summertime.
Richard, here's what you tell people. You say, look, we don't know when the snow's going to hit. Okay. We don't know when we're going to get frozen out. But if your gutters are filled up with debris and ice starts melting or snow starts melting and it cannot drain properly, then your gutter's going to freeze solid. Then there's nothing we can do about it till the springtime. All right. So we need to come out in early September and make sure that all your gutters are clean, perfectly cleaned out and drying properly, and flowing and draining properly. And then we're going to come out again at the end of October, going into November, and we're going to give you another cleaning. All right. Now, if we have an early freeze and it's early cold weather, then there's nothing we can do. But at least your gutters are going to be flowing up to that point. But so, it might sometimes it's three times a year, but if we get an early frost, it's three times a year. If we get a late freeze, then it's going to be four times a year clean. And go ahead and get them to sign up for every month. Get them to sign up September, October, November. Like, if they don't do that, you all got to deal with ice dams and all this other BS that we don't have to deal with. Your maintenance plan should be, look, these are people who care about their home. They don't want their gutters to overflow. This is a preventative maintenance plan versus a one time a year cleaning is more of like a repair work. So for you, I would tell people we got thousands of clients that sign up for a one time a year cleaning. We have a few hundred on our maintenance plan. Now, if you come out to me and you tell me that you need it cleaned and you're only signed up for once a year, I'm not trying to be rude, but you're not our priority client. Our clients that are on the maintenance plan is a priority. So if you're on our maintenance plan and you say you need another visit, and because we're about to have a freeze, you get moved to the front of the list and we'll get to you before we got a big freeze.
So Cameron asked the question, hey, I'm just starting my pressure washing business, but not sure on the name, but I was thinking Coach T's Pressure Washing LLC. I'm probably just overthinking it and want an unbiased opinion. So one thing that I teach in our in-person training and online, but our in-person where we will be teaching pressure washing, Christmas lights, and marketing coming up in September and October, is just pick one. The last thing you'll do is sit there and try to overthink it and overthink it and overthink it, and all we're doing is kicking the can down the road.
Yep.
Taking action on an imperfect thing is better than taking no action. And something as simple as a name, guess what? You can change it anytime down the road. I went from ProServe Group to Pressure Wash Cincinnati and Christmas Light Cincinnati. And only reason why I had ProServe Group is because that was the name of my business, and that's where all my entity stuff went to. But at the end of the day, I was known for Pressure Wash Cincinnati and Christmas Light Cincinnati. And so that's how people found me. That's how people knew who I was. They had no clue who ProServe Group was. So
Yep.
don't let that hold you back. Don't let a logo hold you back. These are the things that people will sit there and hem haul around all day long trying to think, well, what do I need to do? I don't want to screw this up. Guess what? People don't give two rats about your name. Unless you're huge and you're Pepsi and everybody knows you because you're Pepsi. That's the only reason why it comes down. Do good work, put out lots of yard signs, get the phone ring, answer the phone when it comes in, and go get the work done.
Yeah. The only thing I would say is get you a phone number that's a business phone number that you can attach to your phone. Get you a Gmail, and then get started. I mean, honestly, you don't even need a business name, right? Look, the largest gutter cleaning company in the country is Ned Stevens. What does that have to do with gutter cleaning? I mean, the dude just Ned Stevens, and they do everything. Yeah, you got Window Gang and Window Genie and Men in Kilts. Like, what the hell does Men in Kilts have to do with like cleaning windows? I have no clue. But they're dudes that run around and like to look up the ladder at each other's skirts or something like that. I don't get it, but but you don't need that. You don't need a fancy brand or anything like that. Just get you a business phone number so that way you can put it on pause at 5 o'clock or whatever, and then get you a Gmail account, so you can start getting a maps listing and get email, and then just get started.
So let's talk a little bit about um, people that want to do Christmas lights and how much money is there to be made in Christmas lights, and where is the best training at for Christmas lights? So
Well, there's so many people getting into the industry. They're taking up all the customers. There's no money in it anymore. It's going to turn into the new $99. It's like pressure washing. Nobody can make money in pressure washing anymore. That's the same thing the way Christmas lights is, because all those people online are teaching too many people how to start a Christmas light business. So it's just not worth doing.
So you can go to
Um,
KPW Train and you will find it there. And so this is something that someone put. I have $2,000 on my Christmas lighting budget. Marketing, I'm sure doing yard signs again. Do I spend the rest on a professional website? And I would say I would put more money in signs, because a professional website is going to get you $0 in return. Maybe in the long run, but the rest of it's going to get you zero. Your Google My Business will get you way more business than your professional website. Facebook ads are going to get you way more money than in your there. So I would focus my yard signs, and I would focus there is where I would focus at. And so the reason why I teach this stuff in my marketing day, which marketing day is middle day. So Donovan, I'm going to have 2 classes with Donovan. So Donovan will be there in September and October. And he don't hold things back. We're not one of the people that teach something that we don't do. It's what we preach, what we do, and it works for what we do. There's people that have started a Christmas light business and did $200,000 their very first year, 250. So it is possible. It isn't rocket science. We've had a lot of people get to that point. And so day one will be pressure washing. If you want to do it, if you're starting a pressure washing business, it is a hands-on course. You get to use the pressure washer, you get to use the surface cleaner, you get to use the window scrubber, window cleaning, I can't even, I don't know, water fed pole, all of
Water
that
fed
good
pole.
stuff. And then day two is my favorite day. I've brought in a lot of different things. Day two is slam packed. It is a 8 o'clock till 5, 6 o'clock day. It is, you will be wore out, don't know what to do. Chris Johnson will be there in the October class. It'll be just enough between me and Donovan without Chris. I've been doing some disc test profiling, so you know what your disc profile is. I talk about disc profile. I talk about love languages. And all of these things are ways that we are able to sell more money, right? We don't sell pressure washing. If you sell pressure washing in Christmas lights, you will get a $200-300 average ticket. You might even get up to $500 or $600 if you're lucky. But if you sell what they want and build that relationship, you can get the 1,000, and you can have an average ticket of anywhere from $1,500 to $2,500 on Christmas lights. And so it is an amazing thing. We will be talking a little bit about permanent lighting. We will give about an hour for Christmas lights for permanent lighting, and then we'll show you how to install permanent lighting also, if you want to know how to do permanent lighting. This isn't our first rodeo. This is something that we've been doing. How many classes have we done together?
A dozen, couple dozen. I,
I
I
was
mean,
gonna
I,
say
I
we
love it.
probably had about 200 people go through our class, and it gets better every year. Every year we give more. Donovan has a full house in his shop. It's basically everything's level. We have roofs, so you can use all of the roof equipment. You can use the cougar paws. You can use the pit chopper. I love telling the story about the pit chopper. So I'm always about bringing in new stuff and trying it, right? And so one year everybody's was raving about the pit chopper. Well, I never tried it, so I bought one. And Donovan was like, "These things suck," and he's just kicking it, and it's falling off the roof every time he's doing it. See, look, I showed you. See, look, I showed you. And so this was in the September class, and then the October class came along, and he had like 10 of them. because now he loves them because he figured out how they work and they work amazing. And so that's why you do that. Do you all have a starter pack on Christmas lights? Yes. So if you go to christmaslights.io and go to there, they have the starter pack for one house. Or the reason why a lot of people love the starter packs is it makes it easy. I know a lot of people buy the 1,000-foot starter pack because it comes with everything they need. It comes with the males, the females, and they don't have to think. And that's why a lot of people buy the starter packs. So that is definitely.
Jason, we've actually changed that up a little bit. We want to be a little bit more politically correct. So our plugs are now gender neutral. And so we don't have male and female plugs anymore. They're just, both of them are the same, and you just have to guess and figure it out. So that's the one difference that we've changed up for this year.
And so.
Look, if it starts any fires, that's not our responsibility. It's your responsibility to just know whether it was supposed to be a male or female.
So you go to KPW Train, and then you go to the page that says Raleigh, North Carolina, on either October or September, and you sign up. That's how you get to there.
You just lost 6 people off your live because of me.
I know. Well, and here's the thing too is we do have an employee or a spouse ticket. So if you have a spouse or an employee, also here's the thing about when we do trainings is we do eat a lot. Even in class, we eat a lot. You get breakfast, you get lunch, and we get dinner. And the reason why we give dinner at this class is because it is when you get to network with people. It is the time that we all come together, have a meal, and you're able to network with people. And some of these people that come to our class are some big dogs. Like, they're $1 million businesses. One is an $11 million business, and he will talk to you and help you grow your business. And so that's the awesome thing. Even our last class in Indianapolis, it was so cool. We had 2 young kids there. One kid signed up that day. Like, he literally signed up the day and came to the class that day, and it literally changed his life. Paul spoke into him that night, and both of them, one was from Canada, and the other one was from Indy, and both of them, they're young kids, and I literally believe they will do amazing things at the end of the day. So they were just eating it up and taking action and making things happen, and that's what it's all about. It doesn't matter if you come to our training or if you go to another training or if you want to learn or whatever it is, or in anything in pressure washing, anything in Christmas lights. If you don't take action, nothing happens. I mean, and I hate saying that, but the people that we see success don't take perfect action, right? When I taught Donovan to take it, he just started tipping his toe in, and he didn't take perfect action. But you know what? He has done $700,000 last year, and if you put in commercial, over $1 million in Christmas lights in 1 year, right? Because you can do that. But does it happen if we don't take action? No. Does our pressure washing happen if we don't take action? No. It's taking action and making things happen. And you know what? Is it going to be scary? Sure. Are we going to fail? The faster you fail, the faster you learn, the faster you move forward. So fail fast. You want to fail. People are like, I don't ever want to fail. Well, that's the worst mentality that you have, because if you don't know how to fail, you will fail 100% on your face and be done because you're too worried about screwing something up and failing. You know what? When I was on the truck pressure washing, I got 1 to 2 callbacks a week. Jason got 1 to 2 callbacks a week because I'm not perfect, and nobody out there is perfect. Right? And if we think we can be perfect and it won't happen. It's just the way it is. So that's why I say take action and make things happen.
Yeah, a lot of folks say that like perfection is the enemy of progress, right? I'm going to say that perfection is the enemy of profitability, right? I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm trying to be profitable. And I was joking around earlier. I think everybody knows that I was joking. I'm basically a big goofball. My whole persona is, dear God, if I can do it, y'all can do it. Jason, his message tonight is take action. My message is y'all are good enough the way you are to start taking action. Like, you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to learn some secret trick. You don't need to get over your fear of heights. There's something that you can do to go ahead and start taking action to get your business going, to start the ball rolling. You don't need to register. You pick a business name and register it with the state before you go out and no, I love you here. um, so look, Trisha's come to a bunch of our classes, right? We love hanging out with Trisha, but y'all are good enough the way you are to start taking action. Do not learn this year and get started next year. You have plenty of time. My first year, I got started in the middle of November. I did everything in a couple of weeks. I got hooked, and then I could make a lot of money year two when it came to the Christmas light industry. I was joking around before saying it was saturated and prices are going down. Dude, be very careful who you listen to and who gives you advice, because there's a lot of people out there who are rooting for you to fail, and it does nothing for them but just makes them laugh if you'd fail. So, you know, if they're right, then you fail. If Jason's right, then you win big. And I just want to say, be careful who you're listening to. What's the upside if you listen to Jason versus what's the upside if you listen to the naysayers? You know what I mean? If you listen to the naysayers, the upside is that you fail. If you listen to Jason and myself, who's telling you you can do it, just get started, the upside is, I mean, Jason just told you I run a seven-figure business. I'm actually, I have multiple businesses, and I'm working on eight figures this year. No, that's not all cleaning gutters and hanging lights, but for me personally, what started the journey was me getting started in the Christmas light industry, really starting to understand business, really starting to understand getting my pricing up, really starting to listen to the right people, and just starting the process. Um, there's absolutely money to be made hanging lights. My goal for a two-person crew in a day, we target $10,000. Now, not everybody can do that, but can everybody do half of that? I would say 80, 90% of the people, I would say 90% of the people coming through our class have the ability, the way that they leave the class, to hit a $5,000 day. Hanging Christmas lights. We're not talking about like rocket science here. We're not talking about you got to get an 8-year medical degree. Um, look, I love my mother-in-law, but she wasn't the biggest fan when I married her daughter or hired her some other family to come work for me. And she was that type of person that is just really nice and really supportive when it's to your face. But then she was going to her daughter, my wife, saying, "Hey, you should go get a job. You can work here. Here's application. Here's this." Going to other family members saying, "Yeah, don't do this, don't do that." And then one day I told her how much money I made, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, that's like more than me." And she sacrificed a lot to have a career. And I know a lot of people that went into business for themselves so they didn't have to sacrifice a lot so they could have a family, right? Some people, they prioritize their career and their, the moving up the corporate ladder. And for me, like, what's been really cool these last few years, and it really started when I started hanging lights, was that the business didn't have to consume my ever waking thought. You know what I mean? Like, when I wanted to focus on business, I could be real passionate about it, but then I could make enough money. If you could go and make 50, 60, $70,000 from the end of October to like the 10th of December, how would that change your life?
And most people that take action come out of our class will make. I always tell them that they will make 30. I used to say 30 to 50,000, but I'm actually making that 30 to $100,000. And it's not rocket science. It's not some big secret that we've got. It's just pricing right, doing all of the things. And so Aces and the other Mr. Palm Tree put any and outie for our males and females. So, and I don't know what the general neutral ones will be. When losers give you advice, you shouldn't listen and do the exact opposite. Exactly. I tried Christmas lights last year, used thumbtack leads, didn't know about yard signs, but I did one-story houses and still did good. There is a ton of money in Arizona. There is a bunch of money in there. I'm scared of heights, but there are many one-stories that I can service, especially in Arizona. But other than that, before we jump off here, I always like to ask the question, what's some words of wisdom for people before we jump off here?
Get started this year. If you've been on the fence about something, I mean, I don't know what it is. You know what I mean? If you're on the fence about something, you want to pursue a music career. You know what I mean? Get started. Go. The next friend who tells you that they're having a birthday party and get together and be like, bro, can I sing? Can I sing at your party? You know what I mean? Like, but I'm being serious. Like, get started this year on whatever you've been on the fence about. Um, if it's Christmas lights, Jason and I will, I mean, we go live every week. I go live in the Christmas light contractor group every Monday. I'm bringing on this upcoming Monday, somebody who's come to our class. He's come to our how-to class, like the introduction, and he's come to the advanced class. His name's Philip Ambrose. Okay. Since he started in the lighting industry, he's gone full time now. I don't want to tell everything, but he has very good revenue, year-round revenue in the lighting industry. He does landscape lighting. He does holiday lighting. He got completely out of debt. He was in debt. He went from $0 to within 1, 2, 3 years, very, very, very profitable. And that's just one of dozens of people we could bring up. But Jason and I are going to go live multiple times a week. Jason's going live on Wednesdays. I'm going live on Mondays. We're doing everything in our power to help you for free. We're not charging you a dime. You don't have to Venmo or PayPal us or anything like that. We're happy to do it. And if you're the type of person that learns from like with your hands, if you're like me, I got to learn by experience and by doing it and by touching it and feeling it. We got 2 in-person trainings coming up. Both of them are at my shop here in Raleigh, North Carolina. One's in September, one's in October. The Friday is going to be hands-on power washing. The Saturday is going to be your marketing and your business and your quoting and all the business how to set up your LLC and register and all that, blah, blah, blah. It's the overview of all that. And then the Sunday is going to be hands-on Christmas lights. So you can sign up for all 3 days. You can sign up for 2 days. You can sign up for just the employee only day. You can bring a spouse. Like if that's something that you want to learn by hands-on, we put that together as well. And we'd love to have you out, come out to Raleigh, North Carolina and help you guys out.
Awesome, guys. Well, like I said, if you want to know when I go live next time, I always go live on Wednesday and Thursday on this channel. On my Christmas light channel, I go live on Wednesday at 4. I didn't today. I probably will go live tomorrow sometime because I was gone. But if you want to know when I go live on this channel, you can text 859. You can text King to 859-696-1101. And I will send out an email or a text to you so you know when I go live.
Where
So
can
that
people
is
sign up for the in-person training?
Do what now?
What's the link to go to in-person training?
KPW Train is the easiest way to get there. KPW Train. You can go to kingofpressurewash.com/ in-person training, but KPW Train will take you to the same place. And so that's where you can do that. Or you can go to kingofpressurewash.com. I got my online stuff there. Every Monday night we do Zoom calls and Monday night marketing. And this last one was fire, and a bunch of you didn't show up. And so I gave a lot of information out, and Miss Chris Johnson wanted to have the replay so he could listen to it again. So what does that tell you how much fire I gave? I gave a lot of fire. I literally gave the nuts and bolts to everything about Facebook ads. So you can go check that out if you join, because they're all recorded in there also. But other than that, I hope you all have a great night, and we'll see you all on Sunday.